welcome to another series. This is going to be building with Beastly. So this is where we're going to take deck ideas and kind of create them into more coherent decks with good gold curves and plenty of synergy. Now, what I want this to focus on, at least at the start, I don't want to fill this with a bunch of legendaries and make it really unobtainable for new accounts. So I'm going to be putting a limit on each of the decks that we build to two sets of legendaries. So basically 6 legendaries up to that amount. For the first couple of videos at the very least, I want to do starter decks for them. Relatively obtainable decks that you can save for over a little period. You can maybe even summon cards instead of the legendaries, and that will work just as well. But let's go ahead and get started.
Creeper. Oh man.
Now the first deck that we're going to be doing today is going to be the Reanimate Rat deck. I haven't come up with a better name for it, so feel free to leave it in the comments. I will be ranking this soon. This is one that I already run, and it's one that just works wonders. I've recommended it to other people, and it seems to work very well for them if you get the strategy for it down, which I'll also be talking about today. Now, I actually want to go ahead and say you want to start off with Lumber, of course, because Lumber is basically an auto-include, and especially in Reanimate, it's super powerful in this. Now, the main power engine in this deck is Drake Dance. I think we'll just cover the Drake Dance and the Reanimate right now with the Lightning Blade, and then we'll talk about the other pieces. So, an issue you'll run across when you're running rats is that if you don't have that Rat King Mystic, you can't really deal with range units super efficiently, especially if you're not too confident with your unit placement. They're running a lot of range. It can be really hard to get access to those units, and they'll keep on hitting down, whatever you're playing. And this is a problem. So the solution to this for this deck is Drake Dance and Lightning Blade. Now, Drake Dance is super useful in basically every situation, and it's made doubly so with Reanimate because it can be a catalyst to get your Reanimate off. If your units are all hold back in the back of the board and their units are all lining up, just 4 squares away, you can't reach them, you can't trade. You pop a Drake Dance, and you've got the trade. Also, it can be really good for pushing lightning setups. So, like, a lot of people say that Lightning Blade isn't a good card because people play around Chain Lightning. Well, it's not the case when your units are too far away for a Chain Lightning to happen to them. People tend to play a little bit more compact. They tend to compact their units together, and then you can get so much value out of this. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Lightning Blade here. The main reason it's in the deck is, again, it combos beautifully with Drake Dance a lot of the time. Also, it's a great source for direct damage on castle, and people have a real tendency to put buildings behind their castle. So even if it's like a turn 1, you coin out a Rat Hovel behind castle, Lightning Blade will clean that up with 1 hit on castle. Or if they put an armory behind castle because they don't want to waste the units to go place it somewhere else, again, Lightning Blade cleans it up for you. So it's a very nice thing. Even if they're playing around chain, you can still get chain value out of it. Now moving on to some other cards here, we are of course going to come back to the other side of things. We're not going to run Frost Giant, no. But I want to talk about another piece here, which is your smaller Reanimate unit. So we're going to be running 3 Lumber, of course, 3 Salahar Rider, which gives you a very strong early game. We're going to be running 3 Hassan City Guard. Of course, if you're going to run Reanimate, always run Hassan City Guard. It's a really good initiative. You get 2 small units for 2 gold, and that can turn into big value with Reanimate. So if you're running Reanimate, run that. We will, of course, run... I'm trying to think what else we want to run here. We'll leave it there for now. For the Actually, we'll add in 3 Peasants. So Rally of the Town. Not the actual card Peasant, but Rally of the Town is another great Reanimate card. It's a great value card. So this is going to be a Reanimate setup, basically. We got the Drake Dance to catalyze, and then we got all of these smaller units that can just be played and sacked for Reanimate. Now, you can sack some of your other units that we'll be talking about, but those fall into different pieces in this combo. So the next piece that I want to go over is your Mystic Rat piece of the deck. So when you run Mystic Journey, with racking and stuff like Temple of the Five Gods, it can just be devastating because you can get chain where they're not expecting chain. Just like you can with Drake Dance, you can also get that with Mystic Rat. So that's another way to outrange units. If they're playing range units in the back, you can still get to them with your Mystic Rat or your Drake Dance. So it's two very, very nice ways to deal with that range threat. And then, of course, if we're going to run Mystic Journey, we want to run Rat King. So right now, looking at the use of Mystic Journey, you can use it for Rat King and you can use it for Hassan City Guards at the moment. We'll probably be adding more initiative in later on. But we'll also run 3 Blacksmith. And then we'll run, I kind of want to say 3 Armory. Normally, I would say 2. But in this deck, since you've got some, we'll say 2 for now. We might up it to 3 later. We'll consider once we move forward into the other deck, into other parts. But right now we're looking at a pretty strong gold curve. We've got 2 1-drops. We've got a 2-drop. We'll probably want to increase that to another 2-drop. And then we've got a nice range of 3 drops, a very nice range of 4 drops, and a beautiful range of 5 drops. So right now we're going to go and kind of expand on this with the next piece. Now, when you run so many global buffs, especially in this deck, when you play something like Rat King, it's just 5 damage for 3 gold, which is amazing value, but if you have 1 blacksmith out, that turns into 3 gold for 10 damage. If you have 2 blacksmiths out, 3 gold for 15 damage. So you see what I'm getting at here. Each time you play a buff, it multiplies. So the goal of this deck is not just to get a big reanimate, it's to get buffs out so that you can get massive value out of your wide range of tokens that you're going to be playing. A wide range of smaller units like your Hassan City Guards, your Rat Kings, your Rallies. You can get so much value out because these are multiple units, so buffs basically multiply when you're using it with them. And the way that we get buffs out quickly, we're not running any big cards in here. We actually run ramp. So we run ourselves 3 Elvish Thief, and we also run ourselves 3 of the 3 of the Southport Captain. And Southport Captain can be amazing at getting out, a temple early, or getting off a really nice combo later on in the game. He's also a nice body to reanimate with. And he's a great way to block off bigger units from castle because you don't really run those big chunk units. You get 1 buff down with him, and he suddenly deals 6 damage when he's attacked. 2 buffs, he deals 8. So he's just a very, very nice card. He's also a great card to Lightning Blade because anything that is going to remove him, it's going to be dealt, at the very least 8. And if you have more buffs, it's going to go up from there. So he's just a great card with the repost to add in here. I would definitely, definitely add him. Recommend adding him 100%, even though you don't run the bigger units. He is one of the most useful cards for getting out the buffs that you need to be able to then buff your smaller cards so that they trade way more effectively with the opponent's cards. All right, so now the next piece is the last set of legendaries. I like giving Mystic Journey some value, and you can do that with Maddie. So Maddie could give you some possible pulls. First of all, Maddie is great for Reanimate because by himself he's a 0/1. If you play a buff, suddenly you can sack him into something and get a Reanimate out of him. Plus he gives you a mage, maybe a melee mage that you can use to reanimate, maybe a Tarius that you can use to basically secure the game with so much extra draw. But he's a great card to add. You don't need to add him if you don't have the shards for the extra, Maddies, or if you don't have them already. But he is definitely something to save up for. I would say he's one of the most useful green legendaries to play in Mystic decks by far. And then, of course, we want to add ourselves 3 of the rat-infested hovels. We're not going to be running Ship of the Damned. I just don't think it's worth it. The main reason Hassan City Guards has run over it, of course, is because it has the initiative value. You can actually pop a Mystic Journey on a Hassan City Guards and get a hit on castle. You can enhance that with Lightning Blade. It's won me many, many games late. When you're in Final Death, you're looking at a tiny little bit of extra damage. You don't have the Rat King in hand, but you've got the Hassan City Guards. It's just a great way to unload Mystic and get that damage on face. So we're looking pretty close to completion here. We've only got 3 card slots left, and we need to decide what else we want to add. So looking at our curve here, we're going to decide what we wanna kind of fill in our spaces with. So we've got definitely a great turn 1 lined up. 6/1 cost units, absolutely fine. We've got definitely a good turn 2. We've got 3 choices for turn 2 units: the Elvish Thief, the Sun City Guard, or the Rat Infested Hovel. I would say we're definitely good on turn 2. We have a very nice wide selection of range threes, again going up again. So you've got your blacksmith, your one-eyed Maddie, your reanimate, your southport, or your racking. Reanimate turn 3 can go off of one of the turn 2 plays, like Hassan Seaguards or Elvish Thief, or even though turn 1 plays, the lumberjack and the Salhar. So it ties very nicely into this ramp, kind of going up that we're looking for. That very nice curve that guarantees you a strong early game, which is what you need to be able to play out your buildings, which is what makes this deck so powerful. The main goal of this deck is to get out buildings because then it multiplies your Rat King's power, it multiplies your Asante Guard's power, it multiplies your Maddie, it multiplies your Rally. It's just super, super good to get out. Um, so looking at some cards that we could add, we're just gonna scroll our way through here. We're gonna think, okay, well, are any of these Viking cards going to give us value? We could run a little bit of freeze. I'm not a big fan of freeze in this. I think it's a stalling tactic when this deck really needs to dominate early in the game. I mean, yes, you can set up some chain with it, but again, I just think this is a little bit too fast paced for it. So we're not going to run freeze. Really want to run Yena. It's too expensive again. Too much on the big side. You want to guarantee a strong early game so that you can choose what you want to trade in for the reanimate, or so that you can just keep on that early game pressure and keep them defending, and then you can just pop a big Mystic Rat to win it. So we're looking through here. We could run Parrot. I don't really want to run Parrot. Again, it's another legendary. It's really not too good. We could run Onslaught, but again, I think it's a little bit too slow, and this deck has plenty of ways to remove range anyway, so we don't really need it like regular Mystic Rats would. So yeah, looking here, nothing to add there. So that leaves us with a few options that we could do. We could add a range element, which I don't really think would be worthwhile either. Or we could add maybe another armory and some initiative cards like Dragon Knight, or Shaman. And I think that's probably what we're going to go with here. I think we'll add probably, I would say, I'm tempted to go with Shaman, but I'm going to say Dragon Knight is probably going to be the better choice. Just because Shaman is a little bit on the slow side, Dragon Knight definitely gives you that nice presence, that board presence. And now we have a choice. We want to choose between another Dragon Knight or another Armory for our last card, our final card to include here. And I think what we're going to go for is, this is honestly a coin toss. I'm not too sure. Right now we're running 26 units. I'm going to have to opt with a unit here, mainly because it's a reanimate deck. We just want to have that strong unit presence. I know that some of the units are spells like the Rally, and that's really about it. So yeah, I would say definitely it's a better idea to go with the unit here. Plus, we want to keep the health low for cards so that we can reanimate. So maybe a third armory isn't the best choice, but we'll go ahead and take this deck, and we'll go into a few ranked matches and see how it actually plays, and see if that strategy of getting down the buffs first, as soon as we possibly can, works out. All right, so looking at game number 1 against Spidey here, we have 2 Rat Kings and an Elvish Thief. I'm going to go ahead and trade out 1 Rat King. We don't really need 2 in our opening hand, and we get a very nice gold curve here. We get a Lumber, we've got the Elvish Thief, we've got the Rat King. Now, we don't really have anything to ramp up to with the Elvish, but that's absolutely fine. He's a very nice body by himself. I think that we're going to probably take an aggressive stance in this game early, with these tools that we've been provided. So, oh, we get another Elvish. So what we're going to do here is actually a little bit of an interesting tactic. Now, we could put Lumber up into that middle top square. So we could put him here, but we're not actually going to do that. We're going to run him here. Now, the reason for this is, if he wants to get rid of this Lumber, he has to move a unit out here, and if it's, say, a 3-3, then it's got to be stopped on this square. Now, this square doesn't have straight line to castle. He can only move up to this square, or he has to reposition to go for castle again. Whereas if I'd moved my Lumber here, he could have put his 3-3 here, and then he would have straight line to castle. And all my Lumber could do was block, which, again, isn't the best option for me, because I want to be able to push a little bit more aggressively. So this allows me to do that. I'm going to go ahead and here, I'm going to take out this. I'm going to get a coin of ramp, which means next turn I'll have 4 gold. If he attacks, I can get out a temple, which is my hope here. Because that early temple, again, it's going to multiply the racking value. It's going to make it huge. So we'll see what he decides to do here. See if he wants to take the trade and let us get out of the temple. He does. So this is going to be very, very big for us. He puts out a ship of the damned. I don't think that he's going to be able to generate the chain. So we're going to put down the temple, and now suddenly our Rat Kings have gone from, since I only have 4 slots, it was originally 4 damage for 4 gold, and now it's going to be 8 damage. Sorry, not 4 damage for 4 gold. 4 damage for 3 gold. Now it's going to be 8 damage for 3 gold, and it's chain on top of that, which is a very, very good deal. Oh, and we draw another Rat King. So we're going to go ahead and use our first Rat King. We're actually going to trade the Rat King here himself because we don't want the gold drain. And we'll go ahead and hit this here. We'll move this up and move this up as well. All right, and pass back to him. So our temple doing some work for us, allowing us to make those effective trades. So of course it was very, very beneficial to get out early, as you'll see with this deck. Your top priority is to get your buildings out and to keep pressure off of your own face so that you can continue to take the advantageous hits. So here he is going to allow me to chain his warrior down, which is very nice of him. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hit with this rat. I'm kind of tempted to Drake Dance just to get rid of the other one, but I won't. I'll save the Drake Dance for now. We'll move this up, we'll move this over here, and we'll move this over here, and then we'll pass back to him. So again, we have an advantage here with the building that we have down. We're getting more effective trades with the chain. He does have a blacksmith down of his own, but again, we don't really care about health buffs that much. Our units aren't that beefy. So we chose to hit it down like that. That wasn't the best option for him. He should have gone for the Salahar Rider, mainly because that's a gold unit. I can use that to reanimate. We get ourselves a Lightning Blade. I can't reach Castle just yet, but that's going to be definitely helpful if he leaves the Smith there to come in and help me clean that up. So we're actually going to play the Rat King here because the 2 gold drain isn't going to do much against us. And then we will go ahead and move our Rat King here. We'll leave the Thief there. We'll move this up here. We'll run this. We'll hold this back. We'll move this up, and we'll move this to the back. So we're kind of taking a little bit of a more balanced approach to this. We're going to get the big Drake Dance and the big Lightning Blade next turn because we're going to have enough gold for that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and Drake Dance. Actually, it's not even... If I want to take it out, I do have to Drake Dance. I have 2 in hand anyway, so I may as well go like this. And I'm considering if it's worthwhile just doing a second Drake Dance instead of a Lightning Blade, because I would manage to chain enough. I think it is worth it. So we're just going to second Drake Dance instead of a Lightning Blade here, so that we can get the 3, which chains. Then we can get the 2, which also chains. Then we can get the final 2, which is going to also chain. So there you go, unit gone. Then we can move up here. We can hit that down. And then we can move here, and then we'll hit that down. Then we can move this up here. And then we'll play Rat King. We'll play it like this. I don't want to connect the chain for him any more than I already have. So if he wipes out the units in front, then we just have the units behind to carry in with the Lightning Blade. So we definitely have board control here. He doesn't really have anything that he can do removal with. The best he could do is chain. He could play Parrots here. I don't know if this is a Mystic Parrots deck. No, he's going to play the Armory. So yeah, that's going to be game right there. And again, I really think that's possible because of getting that early game temple with the ramp. It helps so much. It makes such better, more effective trades with all of this swarm that you can generate. So it's always your best option to just put out the buildings first, as long as you don't have units on face threatening you. So of course, make sure the coast is clear. Trade any smaller units you have to do that, and then play the buildings so that you can trade more effectively from there and conserve resources for yourself while sapping your opponent's resources. And at the same time, when you set up those buildings, you're setting up for a big Mystic Journey later on in the game, which is your win condition. It's one of your win conditions. You can win off of that. So it's always good to get those buildings out because you're not going to have the gold on the same turn as the Rat King Mystic Journey or whatever you're going to Mystic Journey. We have ourselves a match against Twilly here. And an interesting starting hand. I think we'll go ahead and keep actually everything in here. We've got a very nice south port that we can move into. I'm not sure if we're gonna coin. I think we'll actually coin out the rat hovel on turn one simply because turn three we can do a south port, and then we can do a temple afterwards. Now we could have coined out a Southport on turn two and actually got the temple the turn after, which I think would have been the better play looking back, if I'm being honest. But unfortunately we didn't do that play. I'll move the rat here. I'm not going to move it up simply because the Southport is a better thing to trade. And if he does manage to take it down, yeah, he's going to take down the rat hovel here. That's a good trade by him. So again, another example of why chain is so effective. I did the hovel, and then he took advantage of that, which is very, very well played on his part. So we'll go ahead and move in there. That will push it up. But that's fine. Whatever he trades into that, it's going to be probably killed. Unless he does manage to play something that's more. Okay, he plays the Dagger Storm, so everything goes anyway. Now we can go ahead and do a Temple Lumberjack. You'll also notice that I have a Blacksmith in hand and a racking. So all we're looking for is a Mystic Journey, and we can pretty easily close out this game with these buffs played down. That's probably the Frozen Trap, I would imagine. We'll go ahead and test it, though, by attacking with a Lumber. Yes, I do believe it will be the Frozen Trap. So assuming that, we will go ahead and play this. Okay, it's not. Very interesting. Now we're going to actually play the Matty up aggressively because we have the Blacksmith and we have a Lightning Blade. So either of those can be used on him. So we'll see what he wants to do here. Again, going for that strategy of early buffs. Early buffs is the name of the game here. Okay, Drake Dance. I could take out the Freezing Pillar if I wanted to. I don't think that's the best idea in this situation. Instead, we'll set up him down here and then him here, and then we'll pass back. Again, just biding our time, waiting. He can't reach this Sarius with the pillar there, and he can't reach the Matty as well. So he's kind of blocked himself off so that I can attack from those avenues. So we're taking advantage of positioning here to take out the pillar for free. So it's basically a wasted card on his part. So we can go ahead and do that here. Attack with the Sarius and get an extra chain on castle, which is quite nice. We'll play a Matty, see what unit we can get out of it. Okay, an Acolyte. We'll take that definitely. And then we'll pass it back to him. So again, holding our cards in hand, the Lightning Blade, the Racking, looking for a little bit more value from them. So he's going to go ahead and do a Dragon Search. Flame Drake is going to be big for him, especially with that Freezing Aura going down. Okay. Excellent play on his part. And then he's going to play Battle Ready as well, so getting that Dragon buffed up there. Now, I could, if I wanted to... actually, I couldn't really eliminate the Dragon just yet. So I think what we're going to do instead is we're going to go ahead and play a Rally. And then we're going to set up a little bit here. So we're going to move this down. We're going to move this over. We're going to move this here. We're going to move this down here. And then we'll move this up. And then we'll pass it back to him. So we kind of have these units in a position. The Matty's looking to Lightning Blade the castle. We'll see if he allows me to keep my position here. Again, if he wants to do anything, he has to move the Flame Drake if he wants to spell. Okay, he's going to go for a Freezing Pillar. Interesting. So that's going to give us the opportunity that we need to go ahead and Drake Dance here. So we're going to go ahead and Drake Dance our units on down. And then we can go ahead and Lightning Blade our Matty. Now, before we attack, I believe we're going to go for a Chain on Castle. So we're going to move this down. We're going to move this over. We'll hit on Castle. Simply so that we can get the chain down to the units here. We'll get a zombie spawned in, and then we'll go ahead and deal the 3, and then the 4 chain. We'll go ahead and play a... we'll play this, and then we want to space out so that chain isn't going to be extremely devastating, so we'll move this here. We'll move this unit back one, and we'll move this up here. And we're spaced for chain a little bit. We've got a nice little line for him if he wants to take it. If he's got the chain with the Flame Drake, the explosive damage kind of bounces the chain along. So we might be able to see kind of example of that. No, he's got a Yarm. Okay. So that sets him up very nicely for a nice long chain. But it also puts chain back on him, and then he's not going to have gold to deal with the Acolyte. which is probably going to mean that we may have game. We have a double reanimate, which is quite nice. We can only trade one unit though here, so of course we're going to pick this one. Oh, trap guard, never mind. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, sir. So we'll go ahead and get a double reanimate in that case. We'll play this down to castle, and we'll attack there, get our chain. Then we'll hope to get and oh, we get even. Oh, we could have used the explosion even more than that. But yeah, we'll go ahead and do our reanimate here. Oh, we missed out on a unit. That was a mistake on my part. We'll go ahead and do our second reanimate here. Okay, and we get the headless. So again, reanimate is just showing how valuable it can be with all of these rays spawning out. From 6 gold's worth, I did miss a unit there, so that is totally my fault. I didn't realize that I had that much dead in that turn. So from that, I've got 25 gold worth of rates, and then an extra 4 gold for that headless, and then a 3 gold for this. I could have gotten, another. It's basically like 10 times value. 10 times value. Well, actually 5 times value. Sorry, because it's two separate cards. But each of them turned out to be worth about 15 gold when I did all of that trading. So again, super, super valuable. It can be definitely game winning to get those massive reanimates off. But yeah, that really, I think, very nicely showcases the deck. So we are going to go ahead and leave the video there. Now, I'm really excited to move forward with this series. I have a lot of great decks planned out that I really want to do justice with the theme, what they're about, the play style, how I play them, how other people can play them as well, stuff like that, little details. And then yeah, just explaining how the decks are put together and why they're put together in the way that they're put together. I think the understanding side of things will help a lot for a lot of people. So I'm really excited to move forward with this series. But yeah, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment down below. Whether you want to suggest a name for this deck or if you have any feedback for the video, anything like that. And have a good day.